Hello and welcome back to Good Game Nation, where we bring you all things TCG. My name is Preston. I'm here with Sam. Say hello.
Hello, I'm back. It's Meta Monday.
Hell yeah, it is. This is an exciting one. Before we jump into that, go on to the Good Game Nation YouTube channel, hit that community tab, and send us your deck list that you're playing with right now so that we can feature your deck list in an upcoming video. We're super excited to see community list. Let us know if you're playing set one or set two. Whatever it is, we're excited to feature it. Now jumping into this week's Meta Monday video, we are reviewing the two top list from the most recent championship series, and that is a green showdown. Our first win for green. Which deck are we pulling up first, Sam?
I am pulling up the Kinemon, second place Kinemon list. Kinemon has done well in set two. It exploded onto the set. It has only one. It's probably one of the more winning decks so far, and this is the list they provided with us. The first jump out has to be that Eustace Kid. The 7-drop is here for me. I think we've reviewed at least 5 to 7 Kinemons. I've seen a few Kinemons now. Not just ones that we featured, but other ones just online. And I don't think I've seen any Captain Kids. I've seen a couple play the 8-drop, but never the 7-drop. So I'm curious, like, what you think about the card. For me, it seems a little confusing, but I'm curious, like, what other thoughts are for that card in this deck.
It's interesting. It is an attacker that can block, and it's a pretty high cost power. We saw most of the decks running either the 8-drop, so that you have that really oppressive only can attack this card, and Dinjiro. Both searched with one of the two searchers in this deck. And seem to have better field presence, in my opinion. So it's very, very interesting to see that you're running the blocker. It kind of feels off compared to most of the rest of the deck. Um, it is a decent top end, but I think if you played a couple more Odin and then something else like Dinjiro, which is a little bit cheaper, it's hard to complain about a second place deck, but it does feel off.
Yeah, it feels off, and I'm wondering what deck this was put in for, right? Like, they're going in, they're expecting, I'm assuming, a ton of Kinemon and a ton of Zoro, just going off of the last tournament. So I'm wondering if this kid just proved successful against Zoro. But, and I know that's a matchup that Kinemon has had trouble with, especially going over the last couple tournaments. So I'm wondering if this uses Captain Kid as a Zoro-esque answer. Yeah, that's the only thing I think of. But we're missing cat in this list, and that's like something that seems off as well. No cat as well.
Yeah, it's a super important two drop, I think, in green to be able to rest one of your opponent's characters, especially when you're targeting three or less, which hits 99% of the red matchup, hits half of your green matchup, um, since all of the scabbards are three drops or less. Um,
The entire Zoro engine, three or
yeah,
less. Most green decks play, the very
exactly.
same three. The law unit runs a ton of 3-drops. Like
Hmm.
everything other than maybe blue runs majority of their attackers are these little guys.
Hmm.
So I'm just curious. Like I'm curious. Those are the first two things that caught my eye. I really like seeing the X-Drake in this list. X-Drake's a card that when you build the green deck normally isn't room for, but it's a card that I always want to play. So it's nice to see it here. That's a card that I really enjoy in this new meta.
Yeah, and it's a pretty oppressive card when you're running stuff that is tapping your opponent's cards. Um, Paradise Waterfall taps a card, right?
Paradise Waterfall untaps a card.
Untaps a card, okay.
It gives Raizo. I think it's meant for Raizo. It gives Raizo a ton of extra protection. Like most
Got
attacks
it.
that go into it are 5k. With Paradise Waterfall, you survive it and then protect them. So I think it's just a nice little bait card for Raizo.
Yeah.
It's a good
Yeah,
list.
obviously a good list and probably even a better pilot. I would assume that getting to your championship finals, you're gonna be bringing your most confident deck and you're gonna be playing your best game,
Yep.
and that's what this person did. I watched the match. We'll probably link it. If you want to be sad for a player and you want to feel the life drain out of your eyes, watch that finals match because it it was hard to watch.
Oh,
This next deck, this first place deck, just made them look like they were playing different games. It sucked to watch. This kid deck doesn't seem too different from like the start. We're running a lot of the same one drops. For Momo, for Beiji, for Jewelry Bonnie, for Killer. Really similar low end. You're going to probably be seeing that in your set one meta if you're watching this here in the US. Um, and again, this is a very standard green deck. The abnormal thing is the way that they're playing it. They're running it around the secret Yamato and this 8 drop Captain Kid. So in the match, he plays Kid, he plays a bunch of blockers, and he plays the Yamato. And then he just keeps swinging with Yamato with like 3 to 5 Dawn on it into the leader repeatedly. Not being able to clear it because you have Kid on board. I think he gets like 3 or 4 Bonnies off. It was disgusting. It was so hard to watch this Kinemon player drop the Kid down to 0 in like a few turns, like less than 5 minutes, and then this kid just runs through his plan, actually successfully hitting like 4 Beijis. So when you got it, I guess, and you're playing best of ones.
oh,
That's
I
all
didn't.
it takes.
Yeah, best of one is didn't realize that. That's rough for this because use this kid, this 8 drop kid, had definitely fallen out of meta. We had seen it at much lower counts. It was like 2 or 3, if played at all. It was definitely a card that was seen lower because we had grown accustomed to it. We knew what the counters were. But if we look at some of these newer decks, they don't have room for that stuff.
Hmm.
Red's answer was to minus it in Jet Pistol. They're not really playing Curtain anymore or Table to remove it almost immediately. Blue Green has little to no answers to this. So Kid has already been known to ruin the green matchup anyway. And with no blue or purple, I have to imagine that style just absolutely runs green. This is a deck that we've seen too when we were featuring Kid. This is nothing too new. The only difference is they swapped out 2 of the new Yamato for the secret Yamato. So it absolutely was a stylistic choice to have this for green. This I think that style to me makes sense for the green mirror match or green matchup in general because every other color has a way to remove Yamato without necessarily attacking. So it was just a great style going into that mirror match or going into the green match in general, especially since we knew green was going to be a heavy dominant color going into this tournament.
Yeah, and not only dominant but oppressive. It seems. Um, I think now that the Zoro weenie list that won the last big prelim popped off, you're going to probably see that lose favor because you have a response.
Yeah.
A lot of people I've seen talking about wanting black to rise up. I want the black decks to be able to counter that. They're not showing up. It's not strong enough yet. We haven't found the list apparently. Uh, but now I think you're going to have to be building around beating this like Kinemon Kid list because once weenies do well once, I don't think they come back. I don't think you allow them to come back. You find the few counters that you need and you make sure you have them in hand. Um, I found a tweet from this pilot on Twitter. I'll make sure Sam gets it so it gets into the description. He went 7-1 in standard and then won out the finals, the top cut. Only lost to a law deck, which is really interesting. I'm assuming just not fast enough since the way he was playing in the finals was a lot of blockers. If the law deck can get running, you can just run through faster than you can get the 8 drop kid on board. Um,
I think Law can
but
win. Law can also win basically any matchup too. You never know when
right,
Law is just going to pop off.
right. Um, but yeah, I'll make sure that this person gets their tweet in our
Absolutely.
description so you can follow them and see what other stuff that they bring to the table because it's a really interesting build. Um, it. seems like you can play most of it now in set one. I think that the Yamato does bring a lot to this deck, but honestly, is that the only set two card I'm seeing?
It is, yeah. It's the only section. You probably don't need to play Sachi. Sachi was designed, I believe, to really just absolutely ruin the Zoro deck. But I don't think it's a good deck. Kid is definitely the best deck probably in set one. So I imagine you're already gonna see this. This is very similar to what I'm playing now in set one. So
Right.
it's nothing too shocking. It's
Hmm.
just you're not really running the kid answers that we were accustomed to at the end of set one. So it's probably a good time to bring those guys back.
Yeah, and it's the super interesting thing about the ebbs and flows of a meta. One thing will rise, and if you bring something slightly off meta, you can pop to the top. Or if you're able to respond to that meta quickly, I think that's what this tournament is a response to the red meta. Uh, and it shows with the top two decks not even representing a Zoro deck. So,
Yeah, we've played a lot of card games. We know Weenies is very strong early, but it usually falls off once are more comfortable with the cards and we have a understanding of what a meta would look like. But now we get to wait for a response for Kid. You know, we have more cards. We have more. Maybe Black is the. I'm really hoping we see a smoker list soon. I want to shake this up. I would love to see a. I feel like Smoker's the guy. I don't know why, but I would love to see a
yeah.
blacklist show up. I don't think so. I think Kid is slightly too aggressive for Black, unfortunately. But you know, you never know what'll get born after a tournament like this. So I'm excited.
Mhm. Absolutely. And if it's not Smoker this set, maybe it's Rob Lucci next set. We'll find out in set three.
Yeah, stay
If we
tuned.
can't get it now, we'll get it later, I'm sure of it.
Just watch the next episode of Dragon Ball Z. It'll happen. Hmm.
Absolutely. Um, well, that's all we have time for today. If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up. If you want to get more One Piece TCG content, hit that subscribe and ring the bell. You're on YouTube, you know what to do. Until next time, deuces.
Bye bye.